You didn't get fired for no reason. And before you get mad at me, I'm not saying your boss was right about everything. I don't know your boss. Maybe the guy was genuinely unbearable. Maybe the company completely sucked. I've worked jobs where management somehow managed to turn a simple 8-hour shift into the most miserable experience possible. So trust me, I understand it. But you're not working there anymore, so sitting around figuring out whether your manager was a good person doesn't really do anything for you now. What matters is why you got fired. And I think you probably know more about that than you're willing to admit. Because usually when somebody tells you they got fired out of nowhere, you talk to them for another 5 minutes and you start hearing about all the stuff that happened before the firing. There's a warning 2 weeks ago. They had already talked to them about being late. They had already gotten into it with the manager 3 different times. They basically stopped trying because they hated being there. And eventually the company got rid of them. That isn't really out of nowhere. You just didn't think that they were actually going to do it. And if that's what happened to you, then just say that. You pushed it too far. And that happens. You get comfortable. You thought that you had more room than you actually did. That doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you're unemployable. It means you misjudged the situation. But if you can't even admit that much, you're probably going to do the same thing at the next place. And that's why this video is here to tell you this. Not because I want you sitting around feeling guilty about some random job you didn't even like. I want you to be able to look back without lying to yourself. Think about the last month you worked there. Were you actually doing a good job? Not the first month when you were new and you made a very good impression. I'm talking about right before they fired you. Were you still showing that same level of effort that you were since the first day that you got in there? Did people trust you to get things done? Or had you gotten to a point where you only move when somebody was standing over you? When your manager talked to you about something, do you actually fix it? You don't need to tell me the answer. I'm not the one that knows about your problem. You just need to be able to answer it without immediately adding, yeah, but. My brother-in-law used to tell me all the time that anything before the word but is absolute bullshit. Because yeah, after that but, that's where the accountability just dies. Yeah, I was late, but everybody's late. Okay. Yeah, I was on my phone, but there wasn't anything to do. Okay. None of that changes what happened. And I think people get stuck there because they're treating as if admitting if they were wrong is letting the other person win. You're not. Your old manager isn't sitting at home waiting for you to admit he was right. He probably forgot about the conversation, and now he's looking for somebody new to replace you. This is for you. If you screwed something up, just own it. There's actually something freeing about being able to say, yeah, I handled that badly. You don't have to keep defending it anymore. You don't have to keep telling the same story where everybody around you was an idiot and somehow you were the only sane person in the building. And I know losing your job makes that harder because right after it happens, you're angry. Of course you are. You just spent months of your life going into that place. You knew everybody there. You had a schedule. You had a paycheck coming in. Then one conversation happens and suddenly you're walking back to your car knowing you don't work there anymore. And it's embarrassing, especially if you know you could have prevented it, because that's another part that really bothers you.